Shalom, and welcome to 40 Days to a Better You, and our theme continues to be generosity. One of the hard questions that comes up when we are trying to be generous is how do we allocate our generosity when we can be pulled in so many different directions? Do we worry about universal concerns, or do we focus in on the parochial needs of our own individual community or the things that are of concern to our own circle? And the Talmud in Bava Metzia actually answers this question. In ancient times, loans were considered the greatest form of assistance. You didn't necessarily have to give money that wouldn't be repaid, but an interest-free loan was a wonderful way to get someone back on their feet. And Rav Yosef taught, there's the verse that says, Im kesef toveh et ami. If you lend money to any of my people, even to the poor person in your midst. And so the rabbis go and analyze, they say, my people implies that if you have a choice between helping out someone who is one of your own people versus someone who is not part of the Jewish people, that our own people do take precedence. Similarly, it says a poor person to imply that if a poor person and a rich person come for help, start with the poor person, which is sort of obvious. And it also says who is with you, which means that you start with your relatives, the people who are closest to you, and then your own community. And then only then do you worry about the poor of the larger city. And then even only after that do you worry about those in need in other cities, in other communities. And so as we in life face competing priorities, we can ask ourselves, is it okay to worry about our own first? Is it okay to start close to home? The answer is yes. Indeed, we start at home. The well-being of our own families comes first, then others in need in our own community, and then the needs of those who may need help in other communities. Now, by the way, there is an obligation to help everyone in need, Jewish or not, but it's okay to prioritize those who are closest to you before helping everyone else. The other thing I'll note, what's left off this list is oneself. You presumably count as a member of your own family. So you are allowed and even encouraged to be gracious, to be generous with yourself. So on the one hand, we have permission and perhaps even an obligation to care for our own first, but we can't only care for our own. So there's a famous rabbinic telling, the stork, the famous bird, the stork, is non-kosher. And the rabbi asks why. Its Hebrew name is chasidah, which means a righteous bird. And the answer is that the stork is known for caring so well for its own kind, but ignoring others. And so therefore we have to find a balance. We start with our own, but we don't end there. So as we're cultivating a sense of generosity, it's easier to worry about those who are closest to us, and that's where we begin. And then the circles move out, but we don't forget where we started. There are just 5 days to a better you. Let me wish you a Gmar Chatima Tova. May you be sealed in the book of